Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Today's topic is gonna be about selecting the right controller or radio for your project. Most often, is basically if you're gonna buy ready to run, you're gonna get the right radio. It comes with the package. But here, from where I'm from, Asia, there's a lot of stuff you can buy online, like used RC, like for example good ones like pre-modified RCs with several good stuff inside already. So the only downside is basically those in terms of items that you buy in the marketplace where I'm from has no radio. So it happens so often people are getting cheaper radio just to start with. This is video, it's more designed for the beginners who is jumping to the hobby and getting a good used item, but you need the right compatible radio for it. Now let's jump into the radio. Most of the time you buy an RTR, it comes with a radio, the basic radio available in the market. Most often they always sell the cheaper radio. For example, this is a 3-channel basic radio from Kyosho, and this is from an RC 4-wheel drive. And some are more advanced controllers. First, you need to know the specs of the RC you're buying. You need to do your research before you grab any of the radio available online for sale. How many channels do you need? Do you need only 3, or you need more 8-channel radio like this one, or more? But most of the time they're just getting a 3-channel or a 2-channel radio. Are you going to be using this for a electric RC or a nitro RC? This is still going to be your basic receiver. The receiver, the servo, you need to know the specs. Most often this subject is basically you don't have the right receiver or the combo, receiver and transmitter combo. The receiver requires power. If you have an ESE or anything that's ES electric based, this one's going to be providing power to your radio to power both servo and some of the electronics connected to the unit. If you have a nitro, it doesn't have those ESE devices. So you need like an external battery like this one. Sometimes it has 1.2 battery to power at least almost 4.8, or a fully charged 5.5 volts battery to power up those servos. Remember, this is most oftenly mistaken by new buyers if you're going to a nitro RC format. Most important thing is knowing your voltage limit on your receiver. Okay, for example, this is a Kyosho basic receiver. This is most common to our lower end radio or receiver combo. 4.8 to 6 volt rating. And the next, you need to know what's the limit of your servo, like this one. If you happen to have a nitro RC, sometimes you have to know the limit. Like for example, this is 5 to maximum 6 volts. So 6 volts, basically it's compatible. Most oftentimes they use this type of battery, a nickel metal hydride battery, which is a 5-cell. If you happen to have a 1.2, probably around almost 6 volts. Fully charged is going to peak a little bit because the receiver can handle a little bit excess voltage. Okay, let's talk about ESC. This ESC usually comes with a ready to run RC. Usually the voltage for the power supply for the receiver, we call it the BEC, it's about 6 or 4.8 to 6 volt maximum supply. So it's basically compatible with this type of receiver. The higher end version like this one by Castle, 6 volts output BEC, but with a higher amperage. I'm not sure if it's a 3 amp or a more than 4 amp, but this is programmable using Castle programmable card. This, you can program the voltage for at least 7.4. So you have the option of getting a higher servo which has faster response time and a better torque. But again, you need to check your receiver. You need to know if it's compatible for a 7.4 output before you jump into upgrading your servo and other electronics like lights. The next one's going to be, this is a sample of a receiver. You can see the voltage. It's 4.8 and up to 8.4. So if you have anything that has a higher BEC rating, technically you can use this one with the matching high-powered servo. There's also things you need to know. Sometimes amperage. The more you consume amperage, the more you need to know your ESC, like the electronic, if they have a higher amperage to supply your high-powered servo, high-powered winch, on anything high-powered LED lights that are connected to your RC. There's few accessories that you can use to increase the supply or at least reduce the fluctuation of the current you're getting from your servo and lights by using kind of like this one. If you can see the model, it's basically a capacitor. You can connect this one, make sure that you connect it to the right polarity to limit the drop in terms of the current drop. So this is a sample of another capacitor. I'm not sure if you can see it, but there's polarity. There's minus, plus, and the sensor. So you can see this is basically you have to know the direction of the polarity of the plugins. If you have an external capacitor, make sure it's on the right direction, or else if you reverse the polarity of your battery connector like this one, you'll blow up your ESC and you'll blow up the capacitor connected to the receiver. Just be careful. About the radio, okay, this one is our base unit. There's several offering online. It's very cheap. Basically they have an 8-channel receiver, but you have to look at the voltage again. Look at the voltage, and then you need to know if all the feature you need, like the EPA stuff and the gain control, reverse. So it's very technical once you go higher. So this is going to be our basic radio. Okay, if you just plan to get a single RC just for a beginner and you want to get a controller like this one, if you're going to be on using nitro, you need to make sure they have a built-in fail-safe. So some receiver doesn't have a built-in fail-safe. Means that basically once your battery drops on a certain voltage, the receiver detects it and put back neutral. So it's either in neutral or break. So it's going to be safer. You don't have any runaway RC. Some are built into the receiver. Some are added feature within the transmitter. So you have to make sure, read the specs, check out the offerings, and if it's good for your application. The good thing about a controller with a display, basically you can see it's going to be easier for you to adjust, and there's more function. This is basically an 8-channel transmitter. The next is going to be the flysky. This is going to be the radiolink and sanwa. This one will probably cost you around less than $60 new or $50 used. This one, a brand new unit, costs around $200. This one's about $300, and this one's about $300. It's almost the same price range. So for this one's basically the disadvantage is it's only 4-channel, and some of this offering has 8-channel, but you need to know about the cost of the extra receiver. If you're really happy with the hobby and plan to stay or add more cars to your collection, so I really advise you to go with a more flexible radio, and you have to check the receiver costs. This like $30 per receiver. This one kind of $20 per receiver. This one's maybe almost the same price as the receiver for this guy. And this is the most expensive in terms of the receiver. Not really sure, but I'll put the price around this area over here. So this is going to be my summary for choosing the right radio for beginners. Anybody's getting to this hobby and doesn't want to invest much in terms of gear, accessory. All of them are good radio, but really depends on your application. Thank you guys for watching, and hope to see you on the next one.